When it comes to the future of our country's workforce, many business owners fear we are in serious trouble.
As people here on this earth, we are not meant to work for our money.
Do you get what they call hungry?
I'm there to do what I'm being paid to do. I'm not here to do someone else's job.
There's something called paying your dues. It's really an investment in your future to go above and beyond.
Is above and beyond on my contract?
The most entitled generation in history.
Your generation is lazy. Y'all don't want to work these days.
Younger people just don't want to work.
Gen Z doesn't want to work.
I don't want to work.
I don't want to work anymore.
What is so wrong about quiet quitting?
Quiet quitting is a trend that started on TikTok and quickly took over the internet.
Quiet quitting, bare minimum Mondays.
Being gentler with yourself.
So when it comes to having a job, I don't like it. My soul is meant to be free.
We love the internet, but I will tell you one thing, it's made you lazy. Oh, it's made you lazier than you ever thought you could be.
Work smarter rather than harder. These companies want to use you, then use them back.
We want to quit because we're being taken advantage of.
We can't even afford to live. My generation is frustrated. We don't want to work anymore.
Well, it's a good deal if you can get it. Before the show, I spoke with 3 business owners who are worried about what they are seeing in the workplace from the younger generation. So joining me are Michelle, a veteran trial lawyer and law firm owner, as well as married business owners, Lucy and Eric. So you say right now you just won't hire Gen Z employees.
No, we don't. It's been a nightmare with 95% of the ones that we have hired. I once terminated an employee and her father called me 24 hours later asking how he could help get his daughter's job back. I'd never heard of that before. When I've lost my job, I didn't tell my parents to go call for me.
Daddy didn't call and get your job back?
No, he did not.
Yeah. Were you ever fired?
Oh, yes, sir. I've been fired.
Yeah, what for?
Oh, I had not coming to work once. You know, I was in my 20s and fresh out of the military and just kind of decided to do it my own way.
Oh, you were 20 before you got fired?
Yes, sir.
Hell, I got fired 20 times before I was 20. My first job was at a pizza place, and I got fired because I was too stupid to put the drinks on the ticket. I kept forgetting that. Then I worked at A&W Root Beer Stand, and right after I got hired, they decided to put everybody on skates. Not a good idea. There's still hamburgers rolling down the street. Now, 65% of employers say they have fired a Gen Z employee, and 50% of them say they fired them real recently. Have you had to get rid of Gen Z employees?
Absolutely, and one of the reasons is social media. It's hard to do your job and work if you're on Instagram all day. You have to actually put your phone down and do some work.
But what do you do about the tremors and seizures if they put their phone down? 'Cause don't they start shaking?
Right, you gotta have good insurance, you know, but yes, it's a problem.
You actually walked in to a new Gen Z hire that'd been there like a week, and they had their feet up on the desk.
I walked into their office and sort of, jumped back a little bit because literally her feet were kicked up on the desk. She had brought in her coffee maker in the bag, had like a little blanket. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a law firm, and so what are we doing?
Eric, you had one that showed up dressed like Harry Potter, posting videos.
They were doing Harry Potter TikToks. Yep, I can't make this up. And then they told me they were working, and I was like, well, a client didn't get a hold of you. And then I turned on TikTok later on that evening, and I saw when it was posted, and I was like, are you kidding me?
And listen, in fairness, that's not everybody in the generation, but it is a lot. And you've seen it.
Personally, I think it boils down to obviously how they're raised. And right now, this generation is being raised by the internet. And my husband and I have 2 26-year-old children that are not on social media, not because we don't allow it, they're 26 years old, but because they see the ridiculousness of what it is.
Everybody here, young and old, you do get when you put stuff on social media, that's public, right? We had a guest that lost his apartment and he got a job and it was COVID, so people weren't really working in the office. And so he just moved into the office and was living in his cubicle and he posted it on Instagram. He was touring people around and the next morning they came in and said, you can't live here.
Happy Bare Minimum Monday, everyone.
This is where things like quiet quitting, bare minimum Mondays, the snail girl era all came in. It's about just doing the bare minimum and just do your job, clock out, go home.
I'm really not feeling it today. I think I'll roll in sometime around 10:30 when I feel like it.
This younger generation of people who do not want to work. As an owner of a business, I've seen it time and again. It does not work that way. You cannot build legacy and be lazy at the same time.
Now, my next guest, Toyin, says her lazy girl job is not about working less, it's about protecting her precious time and energy.
If you were looking for a lazy girl job, I got the job for you, girl. And all these girl boss the heck out of your life. No. Now, when it comes to a job, I do not want a girl boss. I need a lazy girl job. I am a front desk check-in person only. Emphasis on the only. Can I get an amen? I'm going to get into my 60-day review of my lazy girl job because it is time. It is time. It is time. It is time. My time is my time. Dinner, the kitchen, everything's getting cleaned. I have a very hard time separating my work life from my personal life. When people pay you that much money, they expect you to sell your soul. It's okay to just stay in my lane. I don't have to overachieve. I don't have to prove myself. I do want to work. I just do not want to work hard.
Okay, Toyin, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You say you have no problem telling your employer no if they ask you to do something outside your job description. Does that happen a lot?
Absolutely. Every day I go to work and I'm expected to be cross-trained without any bump in pay. I'm expected to cover for people who, quite frankly, they decide when and if they want to come to work. And it's just part of my job to do their work just because I'm there and it's a team effort. And so no, I'm not going to overextend myself and bend over backwards for companies who don't take all the little nuances of being an employee of theirs into consideration.
What do you do?
So I'm a patient care coordinator. I just make sure that the waiting room is taken care of and that people are seated and get to see their doctor on a timely manner.
So what's the last thing your boss asked you to do that you said, no, not going to do that?
Verifying insurance. I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Because I don't want to.
And you don't think that while you're there, getting paid to be there, that you're subject to doing whatever needs to be done while you're there? You're a specialist.
I'm a specialist, yes. That's a very good way to put it because while I'm there, I'm only there to do what I'm being paid to do.
That's a terrible approach to work because there's an opportunity cost of doing the bare minimum. People notice excellent work. And with that then comes opportunity for growth and career advancement. And so people in your generation look at it as they're not paying me and they're not going to take my time and steal my time. But it's really an investment in your future to go above and beyond because the people higher up, depending upon where you want to go in life, will notice that kind of work. So I disagree completely with that approach.
Is above and beyond on my contract?
That's the mentality shift that I'm suggesting that you make if you want to go beyond where you're at today.
What do you guys think about this?
I mean, I'm a serial go and above and beyond person because it's where it's gotten me in my life and in my career. And did I always get paid for it? No. But what I value more is my integrity as who I am as a person. And I think the disconnect is that you're representing the woman of today and the woman of the future. And that is important because younger girls that are trying to decide what it is that they want to do with their lives and their careers are now seeing, hey, you know what? You're going to get kudos for doing the bare minimum. It's the total wrong way to work at life as well as a career.
But they're not calling you at 11:45 at night and saying, hey, want you to take these 11 files and call and check on something.
I wouldn't even pick up the phone.
Yeah, I suspect, A, it's already in your hand, and you just are saying you wouldn't answer it. Yeah.
That's a total breach of personal space.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like when it comes to the people that I represent, and especially women and Black women in the corporate world, I feel like we have to continuously strive for excellence, yes, but at the same time, the sacrifices that we have to make in order to get that excellence is not even seen as good enough.
Doing the least, doing the bare minimum does not represent corporate America or corporate women, or certainly Black women in corporate America. How would you know if you've never tried to go above and beyond?
I have tried it.
And it's failed you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, corporate has failed me.
So the problem is there's something called paying your dues. And so when you say it's failed you, how long did you give it? 3 months? 6 months? I think you're failing yourself.
What's good? What's good? Sorry I'm late here. Was just, scrolling TikTok. But should I be taking notes right now? All right, time for the first meeting of the day. It's 9 on the dot. Where is everyone? Oh, there they are. Happy Monday, everyone. All right, I guess it's just one of those camera off Mondays, I guess. Ethan and Cruz, we'd really love to see your guys' participation on this. No, I'm good. I'm not really feeling the vibes on this one. I don't feel like typing out a whole essay just for management to ignore it anyways, so I'm good. Later, y'all.
Well, I believe America was built on the idea of a meritocracy, and those who add value reap the rewards. But right now, many young employees are loudly refusing that value system. In fact, they claim putting in extra time, work, and effort to get ahead at work is an old and outdated way of thinking. Now, my next guest, Ryan, is a labor law attorney who is a champion for the quiet quitting and lazy girl job movement.
If you are a quiet quitter, I have a message for you. You are right. Quit early, quit often. Employers are just going to fire you for no reason. So is it any wonder that workers are quiet quitting? You get that dream job, but you have to think of why you want that dream job. Ever since I was a kid, I just wanted to be a firefighter. That's all I ever wanted. I wanted to be a hero. If I could talk to my younger self, I'd say, Ryan, this dream job, it's not a dream, it's a nightmare. Don't sacrifice your friendships. Don't sacrifice your family, because you're gonna be 34 years old and you're not gonna be able to call your best friend because you burned that bridge. You're gonna look at your dad's wall with the family and there's gonna be pictures of them on trips and you're not in them. I RSVP'd to weddings and didn't show up. I said I would be at birthdays and I didn't show up. That's the price I paid for my dream job. I came back from an almost 2.5-week strike team assignment. I didn't have any missed calls. But even my family, I was pushing away. All because just be a firefighter. Be the best firefighter you can be. No missed calls.
Ryan, it's still hard for you to think about all the memories you lost, things that you missed working so hard in your 20s, right?
It is.
You say no employer is entitled to free labor, extra work, and I don't disagree with that. And I think that we are in a transient society where there's no institutional memory anymore. You know, people used to work for 20 years, get a gold watch, a retirement. Now they may come in, fire you at 19 years, 51 weeks, and no retirement, no gold watch, no nothing. Things have changed.
Yeah, and imagine all the sacrifice that person makes. You know, I deal with a lot of people who suddenly lose their job for various reasons. Sometimes it's illegal. Honestly, most of the time it's not. But it's a damn shame. You get people who say, I gave up everything for this company. And now a year before my pension vest, a year before I was going to be set, they let me go. They laid us off. They acquired another company, new division, I'm redundant, I'm done, and now I have nothing.
But is the answer to that to play the game poorly along the way? Because look, my belief is that you make your own way and that everybody is in business for themselves.
I agree with that.
You're in business for yourself, you're in business for yourself, all of you, we're all a CEO of one. And you gotta look in the mirror every once in a while and say, you know, how's this working for me?
100%.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have balance. If you're working for a psychopath, kick his ass to the curb, kick her ass to the curb, and go do something else. But that doesn't mean you should represent yourself poorly wherever you are.
when you exhaust yourself for an employment relationship that is inherently one-sided, where there isn't a reward, you do not become the best version of yourself. And that's when you start to push away things that matter to you, your family, your friends.
But how do you
people.
assume that just across the board?
Well, how do we assume across the board that these people who are quiet quitting are undermining or sabotaging their employers? They're not. They're protecting themselves.
Well, no, I said if you're working with somebody that's exploitive, most of the people here at the Dr. Phil show have been with me the entire way, 21 years. And I had a rule, week number 1, family first. And you know what? They didn't take advantage of that. The co-EP, Justin, who you've worked with on this show, has been promoted 9 times. He started out at entry level and he's now co-EP of this show. There are organizations that reward good work and good behavior.
Yes, there are. And there are opportunities out there. We're saying give yourself the space to find those opportunities, because part of the reason it's such a special story, the reason we like hearing about Justin, who worked his way up, is because of how rare it is becoming in America. We are at a place in the past 20 years where worker productivity is up, but wages are not keeping up with that level of productivity. People are getting squeezed. We've lost sight of what real leadership is. Part of the reason you're successful here is because you opened up and showed an investment in your people. You didn't demand loyalty from day one, you commanded in it. You saw a spark, you invested in the spark, you respected boundaries, and that's why we're here in this successful studio. But organizations who insist on ruling with an iron fist because they're entitled to loyalty without giving anything in return, they're gonna fail. And of course their productivity is gonna slump.
Yeah, well, I got about 90% women working here. You don't iron fist.